Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Week 2 of the legislature, things are heating up, and he's got the rundown.
There's few people in Nevada that know as much about Nevada's taxes as Carole Vilardo. Today we talked to the head of the Nevada Taxpayers Association. And at age 38, Pete Ernaut's one of the 10 most powerful men in the state, at least in my opinion. Oh, Sam, today it's money and politics on Nevada Newsmakers.
2 of my favorite subjects too, Andy. Coming up also, the Pundits today, and we've got Greg Ferraro back with us, Andy Barbano and Scott Craigie. It's all coming up on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
Earn triple cash points every day during February at the Gold Dust West. To celebrate, we're bringing back the classics.
Earn once, twice, 3 times the points.
With triple cash points, you'll remember.
Win 3 times.
3 times the cash. Triple cash points happens the entire month of February. You'll enjoy.
3 is the winningest number.
3 times the cash. All day, all machines, all month. Using your Gold Rush card in February will be music to your ears.
Folks, you must see what's new in Virginia City. Ride the V&T train all the way to Gold Hill. Explore a mine, if you dare. Visit Piper's Opera House. Watch the gunslingers shoot it up on C Street. Shop in unique stores. Listen to honky tonk in the historic saloons. You can't see it all in one day, so spend the night. Virginia City, where the West comes alive. Come up and spend the night in our hotels, motels, and RV parks.
When he was just a young boy, Ken Dillon laid back, looked up at the stars, and thought to himself, hey, this house could use a roof. Today, Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal offers a complete line of Firestone roofing products for any type of roof, from commercial to industrial and residential. With a Firestone roof from D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal, what's overhead stays overhead. Call Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal today for a free estimate. Yes, the technology sure has changed, but after all these years, Ken still enjoys playing with houses.
Feel it, the magic is everywhere. The action, the style, the food, the flair. Play with us, stay with us in Reno, say Eldorado, and live the excitement. Eldorado, Reno shining star. Live the excitement.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad, political analyst Andy Engleman on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the News 4 Broadcast Center, here's Sam Shad.
Pete Ernaut ran the governor's campaign, and as he ran the governor's campaign, it was a victorious campaign, and he's here with us now, but not representing the governor, but as a member of Jones Vargas. He's the managing director. What does he do there? Why, he lobbies. Welcome.
Good morning, Pete. Let me start right out with politics. There's few that know as much about politics in the state as you do. You've got a lot of lawmakers here that are going to be faced with voting on a tax shift, a tax hike. What are their re-election chances realistically?
Well, I think that's kind of a complicated question. I think this is going to be a very spirited debate in this legislature. There's those who believe very firmly that we can cut this government into prosperity, and there's others that believe that we need a broad-based tax to stabilize the revenues for the future. Whichever side you fall down on, I think this is a very necessary debate for our state, and one that I think we will be much the healthier for.
Okay, and which side do you fall down on?
Well, I'm not sure anybody really cares where I fall down, but I would tell you that I've long thought that we needed a broader base of revenue, only because when we're so dependent on gaming and entertainment taxes and sales tax, they're so volatile that, you know, if the gaming industry falls on tough times, as some would say, if they get the sniffles, the state gets pneumonia. And I think September 11th, as terrible of a tragedy as it was, not only made that worse, but also shown a pretty bright light on just how volatile our tax structure is.
What do you think the toughest parts of the governor's tax plan are going to be to get through?
Well, I think probably the gross receipts tax and the property tax increase. Those are going to be probably the two most controversial, I would imagine.
And you really didn't answer my question before. I noticed that you stepped around it. Pete, what are the re-election chances of people who vote for a tax hike?
Well, I think it depends on each district. I mean, some districts are more conservative than others, and some folks up in the legislature are more conservative than others. But I think the vast majority of voters in the state are very moderate. And I think as it comes down to it, and the case has proven that our needs in education and health care and the university system and prisons are such that it's a justified increase, and something that if we don't do, we'll set the wheels in motion for this state to really go backwards. And I think people will understand that. It's going to take a while. I mean, nobody likes new taxes, and nobody likes to pay taxes, and so this isn't going to be an easy sell.
It's interesting because I think there are a lot of people that would like to see new taxes. They're just not the ones that are being asked to pay the taxes at this point, which is kind of an interesting scenario. Let me ask you, the governor is going to have a problem here with the medical malpractice because there are still doctors' offices closing down in southern Nevada. There are lots of problems down there. What's the governor going to do?
Well, some of that I think is a little overblown. I think that this legislature passed a good bill in the special session. We're only just a few months out of that special session, and I think that bill needs time to work. Even in the best case scenario, it would have taken at least a year, maybe two, for us to see the rewards and benefits of that legislation. And I think now people have become overreactive, and I think if you see the real numbers, that it's just about as normal, the amount of doctors leaving as the doctors coming in. It's a tough issue, and I think it's going to be one that's going to be very tough to solve for the long haul, but I believe very strongly in the bill that we passed and the effort that was made, and I'd like to see it have its time to work.
Pete, you are not an attorney, but yet you're working for a law firm. Could you explain that a little bit?
Well, I think our law firm understands that politics and government affect every fabric of our lives, whether it's business or the legal area, and I think wanted to have a much more of a focus on the government affairs. Some of the partners in the firm had a long time practice in government affairs and lobbying, and wanted someone to come in and coordinate it, much like they do in some of the firms in Washington. And so it's been a great fit. I've really enjoyed working with such a prestigious law firm and some of the great attorneys there, and it's a great infrastructure and environment to work in, so I've really enjoyed it.
You're a bold Republican. You're standing next to the governor, but you're seeing quite a few of your colleagues moving to the right of you and the governor. Does that concern you?
No, I think it's pretty normal. Anytime you bring up an issue as controversial as taxes, you're going to have those that say maybe, those that say no, and those that say absolutely not. And that's part of it. That's what the legislature is all about. If everybody agreed, we wouldn't need a legislature, which some may say that'd be great. But that's the whole point of the debate. And I think that the folks that are on the conservative side, just as the people on the liberal side, are very necessary for this debate. I think it gives it frame. It gives it ceiling and floor for those in the middle to really zero in on what I think the vast majority of people in this state want for the future. And I think that's ultimately where we'll end up. It's going to take some kicking and screaming and fighting and clawing, but I think we'll get there.
And it'll be an interesting session, Pete Ernaut. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Pete.
And coming up from the Nevada Taxpayer Association, Carole Vilardo will be here. She knows an awful lot about tax and who's going to pay it. We'll have her right after this.
CTX can help you negotiate your best deal. We've been your home team advantage for over a decade. Call us today because at CTX, local service still matters.
Yeah, with CTX, you're homeward bound.
Do you know you can still buy a nice car for a great price and a low payment? The car is a Mitsubishi Lancer, and it's only available at Reno Mitsubishi. The Lancer has style, a ton of neat features, and with a lease payment of $169 a month, it's even more fun to drive. So if you want a great deal on a Mitsubishi Lancer, find your way down to Reno Mitsubishi today, because at this payment, they won't last long.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. 7 award-winning dining choices. Experience the Atlantis Seafood Steakhouse tonight. Winner of Wine Spectator's Award of Excellence. The local's choice for food and fun, Atlantis.
Atlantis.
At Sushi Club, everybody's family. That's what makes dining here so much fun. The sushi is consistently better, the atmosphere is great, and the service is wonderful.
Welcome to the bigger and better Sushi Club. Come in for our delicious daily specials.
When you're talking sushi, you're talking Sushi Club in the Independence Square Shopping Center.
Hi, may I please make an appointment?
What if you called for help and no one answered?
Hi, I'd like to make
What if that help was for your unborn child? Lawsuit abuse has created a healthcare crisis, making it difficult for women to find doctors, driving good doctors out of Nevada and leaving us without healthcare. We're protecting the doctors of Nevada, and we need your help. Call 800-784-4730 now. Tell your legislator to support Keep Our Doctors in Nevada.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
There are very few people more astute than Carole Vilardo of the Nevada Taxpayers Association, and she joins us.
Hi, Carole. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Carole, let's break this down a little bit. First of all, do we really need a tax shift in this state? I'm not talking about tax hikes. I'm talking about shifting our emphasis from gaming to something else.
Well, I think what you need generally is a total restructuring on the existing taxes first. Not necessarily that you're shifting responsibility, but what is a major concern is that we've got a tax structure that is not reflecting the economy the way it should be.
What do you mean by that?
Well, let's go with sales tax on services first. We have a sales tax that was put in '55 and has subsequently come down to where it's a very narrow base because, in fact, '55 we were a manufacturing industrial society. The state of Nevada was one of the first states where the gross state product went to over 50% of services, and yet we don't do services. Now, that being said, my board, myself, would never propose expanding to services without a rate reduction. Okay,
so you're in
but
favor of
that becomes a stabilizing force because then you're reflecting the economy of the state. Gaming is always a wonderful subject because it's like mining. It's don't tax you, don't tax me, tax the fella behind the tree. Now, it's fine. They can probably take a hit, but the problem that you have right now, as we see it, is like sales tax. Gaming tax, the gross receipts tax, was put in '45. In '45, no other state had gaming. There was no Indian gaming. Now you come down to today, and you have these outside influences that have made that a volatile source like sales tax. So what do? Hotels aren't going out of business. What hotels are doing is changing for destination resort, which is why you have the recommendation to expand the entertainment tax to other amusements, but also why shouldn't there be something in gaming where you raise the rates, okay, but you give credit like you do in mining for direct gaming expenses, i.e. direct gaming employees, purchases of gaming machines to make it easier.
Every businessman I've talked to in the last 2 weeks is just furious at the amount of taxes that they are looking at. And are wondering, in one instance, one gentleman said to me that for him to be able to pay just the VAT tax alone, he'll probably have to cut the matching 401ks that he's able to provide. We're going to see some problems with business with these taxes.
You will, particularly when you have a soft economy or a bad economy. I'd rather characterize this as a soft economy. But one of the issues that you do have is you don't want anything you do with taxes to create people making consumer choices. Now, relative to payroll, what gets so interesting about that, the only two variables you have when you're in business, and I know I spent 25 years in business and I filled out all these forms and paid these taxes, is you've got marketing or payroll, which is a variable. And if I can go a little beyond that, there's been a great deal of discussion about the gross receipts tax not being based on the ability to pay and the business license tax not based on the ability to pay. And while it's true in both cases, it's a totally different situation for business. The business license tax is something that a business can calculate. So as you indicated, Sam, where somebody says, well, I won't be able to contribute as much to a 401k, or I'm going to have a higher deductible on insurance, the business license tax is done on a specific level of revenue which can be calculated and budgeted for, which you do as an individual, which a business does, which government does. On a gross receipts tax, you can't budget for what that liability is. So that is a major concern and a major difference between people who say, well, what's the difference? You can't, you know, neither one are based on the ability to pay. But one is budgetable and one is not.
The amusement tax was actually a suggestion that came from your organization.
Absolutely, yes.
Why is it you feel people should pay a tax on going to the movies?
Let me go back, and as I say, when we proposed it, it's been modified and changed a bit. When we were looking at gaming, what we found was that gaming per capita has reduced in their contribution to the state, and yet hotels haven't stopped building. All right, so they have changed what they are. They're destination resorts, that's why they're building, and barring 9/11, we have had people coming in. But one of the areas that we have not, it's like sales tax. When we took over the entertainment tax at 10%, when the Fed stopped it, and I believe it was 64, we put it through. It generates nice money right now. It generates $64 million. But in looking at the whole structure, it no longer reflects the economy. Okay, we have NASCAR. We have a lot of movie theaters, which we didn't have back then. We have bowling, etc.
I already pay a tax when I rent a video.
But we never recommended videos because we know that you pay the tax. How that came about, I have no idea. And obviously there'll be discussion, but we looked at it as an expansion of the entertainment tax. And to give you an idea of how you can reduce rates when a tax reflects the economy, 10% generates $64 million. Expand it out to the entertainment venues, and you have a 3.7%
Carole, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Carole Vilardo there from the Nevada Taxpayers Association. Coming up next, stand by. It's the Pundits right after this.
Take a break and treat the family to breakfast, lunch, or dinner at Tamarack Junction. Enjoy pasta night on Wednesdays, Mexican on Thursdays, and seafood on Fridays. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
When he was just a young boy, Ken Dillon laid back, looked up at the stars, and thought to himself, hey, this house could use a roof. Today, Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal offers a complete line of elk roofing products for any type of residential roof. With an elk roof from D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal, what's overhead stays overhead. Call Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal today for a free estimate. Yes, the technology sure has changed, but after all these years, Ken still enjoys playing with houses.
The Gold Dust West has another Club Card Challenge. Triple cash points all day, all machines, all month.
Okay, what's the catch?
None. Just use your Gold Rush card any day, anytime, and on any machine during the month of February, and you'll earn triple cash points.
Triple cash points on all machines?
On all machines.
Triple cash points anytime?
Anytime.
Triple cash points all day, all machines, all month, just for using my Gold Rush card? How do they give away that much cash?
Simple. February only has 28 days.
Folks, you must see what's new in Virginia City. Ride the V&T train all the way to Gold Hill. Explore a mine, if you dare. Visit Piper's Opera House. Watch the gunslingers shoot it up on C Street. Shop in unique stores. Listen to honky tonk in the historic saloons. You can't see it all in one day, so spend the night. Virginia City, where the West comes alive. Come up and spend the night in our hotels, motels, and RV park.
At Tamarack Junction, you can take advantage of fabulous food around the clock. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, give the oven and yourself a rest. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
And we're back with the Pundits, and we start off today with Ande Barbano. He's a columnist for the Sparks Tribune. We also have with us today Scott Craigie, who is a former chief of staff for Governor Miller, and the welcome return of Greg Ferraro, president of R&R, partners, who returns to the panel today. We missed you.
Well, nice to be back.
Let me throw you the first question. The cities and the counties are going crazy over the fact that they may be losing additional revenue back to the state. Your thoughts?
Well, I think they have reason to be concerned. I think they have to work, however, with state leaders to help solve a problem.
But they're broke. Sparks is broke. The county's
state.
broke. Reno's cutting back because they don't want things to get out of hand. Where's the money going to come from?
I think it's early to start taking fixed positions, Sam. I think everybody's got to cooperate and share information, and by another 2-3 months from now, I think the picture will be a lot clearer.
But don't you think, I'm sorry to hammer away at you here, but don't you think that, when cities like Sparks and Washoe County are already in trouble, where they need that money?
Well, a bit of a correction. Sparks found some extra money, and the city is now in the fiscal black. They're not in as dire shape as they were before. It's something the Tribune reported about a week ago.
And Senator Raggio is saying that if they do decide to take money, they're not going to take money from the counties. They would just do something with the property tax, so there would be more for the state. But he said he would not hurt the counties and cities.
One of the critical issues here is that the state has never been on taxes that grow with growth. Local government has, for most of their time, been on taxes that grow with growth, and that's pretty much what you heard from Carole Vilardo.
I think you've got to take the attitude from the city councils around the state to the county commissions to the state legislature. We're all in this together. We've got to figure something out. And this early stage, I think information is very important to be shared, and it can be decided together.
And what Greg is saying, keep yourself a moving target, because if you take a fixed position now, it's easier for somebody to shoot you.
Carole Vilardo put an item on the table that I really liked, and that is, she talked about if you're going to raise a services tax, for example, counter it by reducing the sales tax. That's good on policy terms. It's all because it broadens the base further. The other thing is it's good on politics, because that way the legislature could give something back to voters. This is Jim Denton's theme, so you can talk to him about it tomorrow when he's here. But somehow the taxpayer has got to understand or appreciate the fact that the legislature is looking at what the impact is on them and giving them something back. You lower that sales tax at the same time that you broaden it, you help some of those people
Well,
out.
that's exactly what's been termed the Business Consortium or the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce or Nevada Manufacturers Association plan. That's exactly what it calls for, is imposing a sales tax on some services and at the same time taking the overall sales tax rate down. That's part of their proposal, so that's nothing new.
All right. What would be wrong with that as far as a tax shift? Greg, for instance.
You mean a reshift from 1981 or an unshift?
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about a tax shift here. What's wrong with broadening the sales tax base, lowering the sales tax rather than a gross receipts tax?
Well, look, I don't think that right now anybody knows enough to come down firmly behind any one tax. I think we have twin problems. The first is we have a task force that's identified, in fact, studies before it have identified a serious dysfunction inside of our taxation system. That has to be resolved. On the other hand, we've got going forward into the future, we have an inability to raise enough money to meet the demands growth is placed on services. So first and foremost, I think we have to decide how, as Carole mentioned earlier, how do you establish a new system that's less volatile? I think Pete made the same reference. Less volatile and as fair and equitable across the board.
More stable.
The second half is the revenue picture. How do we provide enough revenue to fund the growth of the state?
And you know, the really hard part about this, and you've hit it on the head, the hard part about this is we always are trying to readjust or re-engineer our tax system when we have these huge deficits. And again, we're here. But the only thing that ever drives us to really be serious about doing something to re-engineer the tax system is when we are facing this calamity. But it makes it all the harder to do it because the stakes are so high. Whoever you shift onto now is being included in this whole new set of taxes, paying off another level of lost revenues or revenues that you can't raise the old system. Unfortunately, we always have the big dollar amount we got to deal with when we're reforming the system.
Okay, I want to dive in here on the brothel issue. The brothels are saying that they don't want to pay the tax. The prostitutes say they don't want to pay the tax because this could end up putting prostitutes back on the street instead of being within the system. Andy, what do you think about that? Nothing intended.
What do you think about
I think it's as bad an idea as accepting tobacco settlement money, because vices like to go into business with government because it perpetuates the viability of the vice. That is gambling, that is drinking, that is smoking, that is prostitution.
So are you for taxing them or opposed?
I'm opposed. I thought I opposed the Millennium Scholarship being funded by tobacco or the tobacco settlement, because all it was the very clever attorneys for the tobacco industry going into business with state governments and making governments a partner in the proliferation of cancer. You put the state government turn the state government into a pimp by imposing that tax, and all you've done is endorse the legitimacy and the proliferation of prostitution.
Okay, but the counties are also saying that they will be badly hurt, the rural counties, by not having this money.
I'm not talking about outlawing prostitution. I'm not Parson Cotton Mather here. I'm saying that to impose additional taxes on a vice like that simply puts the state more into the business of being a participant in the proliferation of vices. We've seen where, depending on gambling tax, has brought us. We're in a fiscal crisis right now because we've legitimated a vice.
Here's a golden oldie.
All right, and on that golden oldie, we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
If you're talking sushi, you're talking Sushi Club. Year after year, voted the best place for sushi. 11 chefs on staff to serve you. Better ingredients for consistent high quality. And lots of room, so bring your friends. Sushi Club in the Independence Square Shopping Center.
Feel it, the magic is everywhere. The action, the style, the food, the flair. Play with us, stay with us. In Reno, say El Dorado. And live the excitement. El Dorado, Reno shining star. Live the excitement.
CTX can help you negotiate your best deal. We've been your home team advantage for over a decade. Call us today because at CTX, local service still matters.
Yeah, with CTX, you're homeward bound.
The Mitsubishi Outlander is the hottest new sport utility on the market today. And right now, you can lease it at Reno Mitsubishi for just $209 a month. The Outlander is sporty, features all-wheel drive, and is the best buy in its class. You owe it to yourself, and you deserve it. Come down and lease a brand new 2003 Outlander for just $209 a month. It's for a limited time only, so find your way down to Reno Mitsubishi today.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, consistently voted Reno's best buffet by locals. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch.
Atlantis.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
Interesting, the Nevada Taxpayers Association is not in favor of the gross receipts tax.
And we'll hear more about that tomorrow from Terry Hickman, president of Nevada State Education Association. Oh, and also we're going to talk to the Washoe County DA, Dick Gamick, and Bob Ostrowski from Las Vegas is joining the pundit panel.
Join us tomorrow on Nevada Newsmakers. We'll see you then.